everybody, this is Shri and welcome to my YouTube channel, Vedic Living. So today I'm going to talk about the next 2 weeks in December before we enter the new year. And if you remember, one of the things that I talked about in the lunar eclipse YouTube video, which I can put the link for that below this video, I made that video around 4 weeks ago. And if you remember, during the lunar eclipse, we talked about how one of the countries impacted is going to be Spain. And we also talked in the solar eclipse video around 2 weeks ago, that video came out on YouTube, how Neptune going direct can have influences like oil leaks and toxins, spills and such things. Now, also with the Saturn-Uranus square, one of the main things that we'll see is earthquakes and earth changes. So we talked about all of these things. And I just want to kind of mention the last couple of days, you might have seen in the news that Spain ordered almost 30,000 of its citizens to stay shuttered indoors because the volcano Cumbre Vieja became active all of a sudden and started spilling toxic fumes. So this is kind of how astrology works. And the reason I wanted to bring this out and talk about this example is because traditionally in Vedic astrology in India, we don't use the outer planets like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. But I was taught to use it. And this is one of the examples where you will see that it really does work, not only in personal charts. I use the outer planets in personal charts too. And it's very telling about the person, especially when the outer planets are very close to the ascendant or one of their personal planets. But in world predictions, it really works very well because, like I said, we talked about Neptune and toxic fumes, toxins, and then we talked about how the country Spain is impacted, and then we talked about the Saturn-Uranus square causing earthquakes and earth changes traditionally, right? Now, you see all of that has come to pass and it's all happening. So, I always tell my students, use the outer planets. I know traditionally in Vedic astrology, they are not used, but use them because a lot of things that you may miss otherwise in predictions, you will see it using the outer planets. So, while our prayers go out to those impacted by this event in Spain, it's kind of proving itself how the outer planets work in predictions. So, I just wanted to mention that. So now we'll go forward with the upcoming 2 weeks. And before that, I want to let you know everything that I'm talking about in this video. If you want to kind of see your personal chart and see where your planets are, see, like we just talked about the outer planets. If you want to see, hey, where are my outer planets in the chart? Because my current chart from India doesn't have it. And you want to see, where your Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are. Or if you have any other questions about your natal chart based on the predictions that I'm going to talk about now, go to my website, vedicliving.com. Go to the free chart calculator. I'll put a link for that below this video. And you can find your chart right away and you can look at all the planets in your chart. And I think the Navamsha is also there. So it's a free tool. So make sure you use that. And another thing I want to also mention is make sure you subscribe for this channel. As you can see, a lot of predictions we talk about are important, and it's good to be prepared for these things that are coming up. So make sure you subscribe for my channel. And while you're at my website, remember to subscribe for my free newsletter, News from the Cosmos. This is something I sent out. I put a lot of effort into this newsletter because I create a full list of all the transits for the upcoming month and all the predictions based on those transits so that you can look at your personal chart and kind of understand what's going on in the coming month. So make sure you sign up for that free newsletter. I send it out towards the end of every month for the upcoming month. So now, going on to what this video is about. As you know, Mars is already in Scorpio, and we are starting to see a lot of events that have to do with Scorpio. Scorpio is the natural 8th house of the zodiac. So it may not be like, straight up fighting. Mars in Aries has a different energy from Mars in Scorpio. Mars in Aries is the warrior. It's military, it's armies, it's war, it's fighting. It's very outwardly and like an extrovert, right? It comes out and fights. But Mars in Scorpio is a little hidden because that's what Scorpio is all about. It's under the waters, the surface of the water, right? So if you imagine an iceberg, and there's a certain part of the iceberg you can see above the surface of the water, but Scorpio is the part of that iceberg that's below the surface of the water. You can't really know what's going on down there. And people who have a lot of Scorpio planets are very secretive by nature because, they don't trust people a lot. And for whatever karmic reason that may be, that they have to learn in this lifetime. But um, that's how Mars and Scorpio work. So remember, a lot of things that are happening may not be straight up wars and fighting. It may be having those muted tones of the eighth house, which is secrets being exposed, things coming out of the dark where people thought they got away with things that they did in the past and now it's coming back to haunt them. The eighth house is everything that we use to control other people, which can be money, power, and sex. So you'll see a lot of things around sex and abuse and manipulation. The next major transit that's going to happen this month is Venus is going to conjunct Pluto. Like I said, I use the outer planets, so Venus conjuncting Pluto is very telling from a personal standpoint and from a world prediction standpoint. Now, this is not a rare event, but it has happened, it's going to happen 3 times. So the first time it has happened on December 11th. It is going to happen again on the 25th of December, which is Christmas Day. And then it's going to happen on March 3rd of next year. So the reason why Venus hits Pluto 3 times is because in between there is a retrograde motion. So on December 19th, Venus is going to go retrograde. So what does all this mean, right? So when Venus goes retrograde, one of the main things that happens is people from your past, people you've been in relationships with, and this doesn't just have to be like dating or love relationship. It can also be business partnership, right? So people you've interacted with in the past and you've kind of broke it off and you've moved on, they may come back when Venus goes retrograde. A lot of times that happens. And the reason for that is there's always some unresolved karma there, which needs to be worked on and released. And sometimes it works, sometimes it just gives you closure to move on and, go different ways. But regardless of what happens, typically Venus going retrograde brings back old lovers or old flames or, like I said, business partners that you've had certain projects with and you've not really resolved things with them and you've broke it off. So all of that, can happen during this time frame. And Venus going retrograde, also from a world standpoint, it can mean that your sense of comfort is challenged. Usually Venus has to stand, it usually stands for comfort, your sense of being home, your sense of being loved, and that kind of can take a hit. You may feel a lack of sense of security when Venus goes retrograde due to whatever events in the world. Venus rules the natural second house, so it has to do with food and agriculture, so there may be some issues in those industries, and the natural seventh house, which is the house of relationships. So for countries, it's usually relationships between two countries, you're going to see problems. And since it's ruling the natural second house, when Venus goes retrograde, like I said, that sense of security is challenged. Okay. The Venus conjunct Pluto, December 11th, December 25th, and March 3rd of next year. What does that mean? Whenever Venus, the planet of love and relationship, hits the planet Pluto, which has to stand for um, Pluto is a little bit of a dark energy planet, right? There's a lot of manipulation involved. There's betrayal, issues surrounding sex and abuse. All of these things can come into the surface. And when Venus comes together with that, those things may happen in relationships, right? People may get manipulated through money or sex or power, whatever that may be. So watch out for that if you're in a relationship or if you have a business partnership. One of the things that happens when Venus conjunct Pluto, and remember for US, this is very important because US is going to go through a Pluto return in the next few months, which is, the planet Pluto is going to be exactly in the same spot it was in the year 1776. So this Venus conjunct Pluto, since it's happening in the sign of Capricorn, can have to do with a lot of government and government officials, right? Government related things, government officials, finance, banking, change in banking policies, stock market, economy. All of these, you'll see some changes. And remember, Pluto is a very transformative power, transformation through difficult things, right? We don't really transform through good things, right? We transform when there are challenges in our life. So, yes, Pluto can bring some challenges, but at the end of the day, it can be a very transformative, very awakening experience. So, in these areas, look out for those kind of changes in government, finance, banking, economy, stock market, and like I said, food and agriculture too, because Venus rules that. And, also remember, with the Venus conjunct Pluto, and Pluto has a very innate eighth house quality. So, a lot of things will be secretive, things that, like I said in the past, people thought they got away with things and it comes out into the open now and they have to kind of face the consequences of their actions. And again, it may have to do with manipulation, abuse, and sex, because again, that's Pluto too. It's a very dark energy. And when that comes with Venus, like I said, it can be, and since it's happening in Capricorn, it can incriminate government officials or people who are in the higher levels of society. So watch out for that happening on the dates that I mentioned. Now, like I said, Mars is in Scorpio already, and when Mars is in Scorpio, people are very opinionated, right? And there's going to be a lot of frustrations about things that are happening. And remember, we talked about the solar eclipse energy. We are right now in the eclipse energy, and that's going to continue for the next 6 months. The eclipse that happened on December 4th. And, when this eclipse energy is in effect, a lot of things will happen when planets go over that original eclipse degree. And that's going to be on December 30th and the 31st when Mars goes over the eclipse degree. Okay, so remember that's going to happen. Another 2 days to watch for. Another 2 dates to watch for is the 30th and 31st of December when Mars, the trigger planet, goes over the eclipse degree, the previous eclipse degree. And this is going to be very telling in the sense that, it's going to bring some anger and violence and highly charged and opinionated behavior. But at the same time, since it's happening in the sign of Scorpio, it may be under the surface rather than out there in the open. So this may be like, like I said, secrets getting exposed. Remember the analogy of the iceberg that I gave you. It's all under the surface, and now you're starting to see what's coming out. So that's what you should watch out for. Watch out for earth changes, earthquakes, especially water-related stuff like tsunamis, earthquakes under the water. Those are the things that can happen because the sign of Scorpio is a water sign, so that's involved. And, those are the main things that will happen. So watch out for those 2 dates. The other big thing that's happening is we are currently in a Kala Sarpa Yoga energy. What that means is Kala Sarpa Yoga is when the north node Rahu and the south node Ketu hem all the planets in between them. So all the planets, as of yesterday, December 15th, all the planets are now in between the nodes Rahu and Ketu. So we are currently in a Kala Sarpa energy. And it's from December 15th all the way till April 24th of next year. So, babies born in this time frame will have Kala Sarpa in their chart. But, Kala Sarpa has a very, like a feeling of destiny associated with it. Everything in life can be extreme, especially in personal charts. You'll see extremes in life, and you can have a sense of destiny, like things are destined to happen. Now, another thing also is since this is happening in one of the signs where the node is Scorpio, again, secrets being exposed, corruption being exposed, that's important. And the other sign is Taurus. So, that's again to do with banking sector and money and finance and food and agriculture and all of that. So these are the main areas you will see issues or transformation or changes in. But yes, the Kala Sarpa energy is in effect, which means that every event that happens between now and April of next year, it's almost like we feel like things are not in our control because there's a underlying current of destiny that's making things happen. So we just don't feel like we're in control. So that's another thing that's going to happen. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the full moon that's happening in Gemini. Okay, the full moon this month is happening in Gemini on 18th December at 10:34 p.m. Central Time. And remember, this is also it's kind of tying in with everything else that's happening in December, because Gemini stands for news and media, information, computers, technology, IT, all of that. Any kind of communication between two people or two computers or whatever it may be, marketing, advertisement, all of that is Gemini. So you will see a lot of, again, remember I talked about Scorpio and the leaks and the secrets coming out. It may happen through media, or it may be that some things about the media empire is being revealed, like huge media companies, their secrets may be revealed. So, and full moon happening in Gemini, I think that's the main area. Media, communication, technology, that's the main area where you'll see a lot of these changes that I'm talking about coming out, secrets being exposed, corruption being exposed, like I said, lies that were said in the past, things coming out now, all of that, right? But remember, Jupiter is aspecting the moon during this full moon time frame, so it's not going to be completely negative. There's going to be some positive outcome, although there may be some changes. But since Jupiter is aspecting the moon during the full moon, I think ultimately there's going to be healing, freedom, and expansion. So remember that, okay? So these are the main things that are happening this year. And, in closing, I just want to say, remember, whatever happens out there or in the world, you should always try and operate from a place within, okay? We don't have much control on what's going on in the outside world or what other people are doing, but we do have full control on our free will and how we react to these events, or how we um, um, talk about, or express ourselves in these events, right? So remember to connect to your soul, go outside in nature, connect with yourself, breathe, raise your vibration, because when each person does that, when each person thinks more positive and reduces their negative energy and they raise their vibration, what happens is it starts becoming a part of the mass consciousness. So when you do it, people around you start doing it and they start following you. They become calmer, right? So, we may not be able to control what's out there, but we can definitely control how we react to it. So look inside, find that peace within yourself. And, I hope to see you again here in my next prediction. I'll be doing some more videos on classes this month, where I'll be teaching some concepts, but I'll come back with the January predictions in a couple of weeks here. And I wish you all a very wonderful holiday season, Happy New Year, and we'll talk again in the January predictions. Now, do make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you go to my website, subscribe to my free newsletter, and if you want to see your chart for all these transits that we talked about, use the free chart calculator on my website to see your chart and see if you have any planets at these degrees where Venus is conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn. Do you have planets in Capricorn? Do you have planets in Gemini where the full moon is happening? Or like I said, with the Kala Sarpa in effect, you can see if you have planets in Scorpio, Taurus, which is getting triggered. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about. So I'll see you again here next time. Thank you so much.